In 2019, a junior developer named Marcus Vale made a mistake. One line, one character, one semicolon that should not have been there. Most bugs like this get caught. Forgotten. This one was never meant to be found. And in the 6 years before anyone looked, it built something no one was supposed to see. This is the story of the unseen glitch, and everything it made possible. Marcus Vale had been awake for 31 hours. He was debugging a routine data pipeline for Nexus Analytics, a mid-tier data brokerage firm based in Frankfurt. His job was simple: find why a report was pulling incorrect figures. What he found instead was a door, left open, into something much bigger. That can't be right. The semicolon had been placed inside a conditional loop, not after it. A tiny mistake, but one with a precise, elegant consequence. Every 40th data record, instead of being logged and discarded, was being silently copied to an external address. Not one address. 17. All registered to shell companies in jurisdictions with no data extradition treaties. Marcus had not found a bug. He had found an extraction engine. One that had been running, undetected, for 6 years. He sat back and did the math, quietly in his head, the way you do when the number you're calculating is too large to say out loud. To understand what Marcus was looking at, you need to understand what data is worth. Not the abstract kind, the real kind. The records of 340 million people. Over 6 years, the glitch had siphoned records from 47 corporate clients of Nexus Analytics, banks, insurers, healthcare providers, government contractors, medical diagnoses, financial positions, private communications, political affiliations, location histories. All of it funneled into a shadow database that had no name, no legal owner, and no off switch. The man behind the shadow database was not a hacker. He was not some basement-dwelling rogue programmer. He was Director Harlan Price, former head of signals intelligence for a NATO-aligned agency, now the founder and sole beneficial owner of a consulting group called Meridian Advisory. On paper, Meridian helped Fortune 500 companies manage reputational risk. In practice, Meridian sold secrets. Price had not introduced the glitch by accident. He had engineered it, quietly commissioned a contract developer, someone who could be paid and forgotten, to plant the logic error deep inside Nexus Analytics' ETL pipeline. A pipeline that processed data for clients whose data Price then knew how to use. He had built a machine out of someone else's oversight. And it ran for 6 years before a tired junior developer, working late on a Thursday night in a Frankfurt apartment, looked in the wrong place and found it. Marcus did what most people would do when they find something they don't understand. He called someone he trusted. "Marcus, it's 2 a.m. What are you waiting?" "Say that again. Say all of it again." Nadia Chin was not just a classmate. She was one of the most cited independent security researchers in Europe. She had flagged 0 days for 3 separate intelligence agencies. She had also, as Marcus would learn too late, previously been contracted as an analyst by Meridian Advisory. She had no idea what they really did, but Meridian knew exactly who she was. By the time Marcus hung up the phone, Price's team knew 2 things. Someone had found the glitch, and who they had told. Ray Okonkwo had spent 11 years as a counterintelligence operative. He did not see himself as a criminal. He saw himself as a manager of outcomes. Price had used that quality in him the same way Price used everything, precisely and without sentiment. Ray's assignment was not to harm Marcus or Nadia. It was simpler than that. It was to ensure that what they had found went no further. But Marcus had already done something Ray's team hadn't accounted for. In the 45 minutes before calling Nadia, he had made one additional move. He had encrypted the full pipeline logs, all 6 years of extraction records, and uploaded them to 4 separate dead drop locations. Addresses that only he knew. He had learned this trick not from a spy novel. He had learned it from a YouTube video about whistleblower security, posted anonymously the previous year. The irony of that was not lost on him later. There was one person who understood the glitch better than anyone, including Price. Elena Voss had designed the original pipeline architecture for Nexus Analytics. She had not planted the error, But when she saw it, 3 years earlier, in a routine audit she was quietly hired to conduct, she had made a decision that would define the rest of her life. She had said nothing, because Price had shown her what the database contained about her. The file Price held on Elena was not scandalous. It was surgical. Financial transactions from a previous employer. An employment contract she had signed under a false credential, one discrepancy years old, the kind that ends careers and, in her field, invites prosecution. Price had not threatened her. He had simply presented the information, calmly, without effect, and told her he hoped they could continue to work together productively. They had. For 3 years. Until Marcus found what she had buried. But Elena had also kept something. A private, encrypted copy of the original audit. Every anomaly she had found and documented before deciding to stay silent. It was, she told investigators later, her insurance policy. She just hadn't decided who to pay it to yet. The collapse of Price's empire did not begin with law enforcement. It began with a forum post, anonymous, posted at 4:17 a.m. to a niche cybersecurity message board with 11,000 active members. The post contained a single attachment, a 400-page technical audit of the pipeline anomaly, formatted perfectly, sourced meticulously. It had Elena's fingerprints all over it, stylistically, though her name appeared nowhere. By 9 a.m., 3 investigative journalists had the document. By noon, 2 data protection regulators in separate countries were being briefed. By 6 p.m., Nexus Analytics had suspended operations. By the following morning, Harlan Price had not made a public statement and could not be reached. Ray Okonkwo was in a hotel in Amsterdam when the story broke. He turned the television off, sat on the edge of the bed for a long time. Then he called a lawyer. He was the first member of Price's inner circle to cooperate with investigators. His testimony, all 214 pages of it, is what put the case together. Harlan Price was arrested at a private airfield outside Zurich 14 days after the story broke. He said nothing to the officers. He has maintained that silence in every legal proceeding since. Elena Voss cooperated fully. Her original credential discrepancy was reviewed and, given the circumstances, set aside. She now consults for a data privacy nonprofit. Marcus Vale did not seek publicity. He gave one interview. He said, "I wasn't trying to be a hero. I was just trying to figure out why the numbers were wrong." The shadow database contained records on 340 million people. It has since been destroyed, pending verification by 4 independent auditors. Most of the people whose data was in it will never know. That is perhaps the truest thing about the unseen glitch. It was invisible going in. It was invisible going out. And the empire it built existed, for 6 years, in the space between what systems record and what humans actually look at.